From ruthless hitwomen to trafficked victims, the stories of women in Mexico's cartels reveal a chilling duality you might not expect. My name is Tomas. In Mexico, organized crime knows no gender. Women are not just within the narco system, they are vital to its operation. Some are recruited through deception, only to find themselves trapped in networks of exploitation. Others take up arms, follow orders, and participate in attacks that leave dozens dead. In this video you will see both extremes. On one side, a Sicaria from the CJNG responsible for a massacre. On the other, a woman who was used, exposed, and humiliated by the cartel itself. Two distinct paths, yet both lead to the same grim destination. We begin with the most brutal story, that of María Guadalupe López Esquivel, alias La Catrina, one of the most feared Sicarias of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. Little is known about La Catrina's early life, only that she was frequently seen at parties and bars. It was in these places that she met her partner, Miguel Ángel Fernández, alias LM2, a sieging lieutenant who held significant control over Michoacán. Under LM2's command, she transformed into a ruthless assassin for the cartel. The turning point came when she orchestrated a savage attack against police officers. On October 14, a police convoy was patrolling the Aguaje area, unaware they were firmly in LM2's crosshairs. That very day, the lieutenant ordered La Catrina, accompanied by a group of Sicarios, to ambush the police in a secluded and hard-to-access zone. La Catrina and her men were equipped with machine guns and heavy weaponry. The result was an absolute massacre. Within minutes, 13 police officers were mercilessly killed. But it's crucial to understand, this was no confrontation or exchange of gunfire. It was an ambush. In such situations, there is no defense. Everything ends in seconds, even before one can react, and what followed was even darker. During the investigation, some of the distress calls from the scene were leaked. One desperate officer reported, "They got almost all of us, man. All the ones we knew. Kane is among them, Eder, Commander Sergio Reinal. All of them, man. So far, we've found 14. The El Aguaje massacre marked a critical shift in the violence perpetrated by drug traffickers against security forces. La Catrina ensured it was clear that they possessed not only overwhelming firepower but also absolute impunity. Only a cartel that feels utterly untouchable is capable of executing more than a dozen police officers in Michoacán. By this point, the Sicaria had become a kind of celebrity within the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. However, when your criminal actions draw so much attention, law enforcement typically becomes very interested in your movements and whereabouts. After the El Aguaje massacre, capturing La Catrina, dead or alive, became an absolute priority for the Michoacán government. On January 14, 2020, Army soldiers and National Guard members were patrolling a rugged path leading from El Aguaje to Tepalcatepec. Near the community of La Bocanada, the soldiers encountered a group of Jalisco New Generation Cartel Sicarios driving several armored trucks. The Narcos opened fire, attempting to kill the soldiers, but their weaponry was insufficient to repel the officers' superior firepower. The soldiers were better prepared and equipped. Within minutes, they managed to kill several Sicarios. Those who remained alive surrendered to avoid ending up in a body bag at the Michoacán morgue. What surprised the soldiers was finding a woman among the wounded. It was La Catrina, agonizing from multiple bullet wounds to her body. A soldier, recording the scene, tried to calm her while awaiting medical assistance. "Calm down, my dear. The helicopter is coming for you. You'll be okay. Try to hold on." Even though she was a highly sought-after criminal, the soldier tried to comfort her, urging her to hold on until she could be airlifted. Another member of the force filmed the moment the survivors were transported by helicopter, alongside La Catrina, who was by then on the verge of death. The woman finally succumbed to her injuries, thus ending her story. She suffered for several minutes, surrounded by soldiers who showed her a compassion she had never demonstrated during her years as a Sicaria. However, not all women involved in this life possess La Catrina's power and authority. Many fall into the clutches of organized crime, realizing their predicament only when it is far too late. I work for the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. We are supported by the Salamanca municipality. This confession was captured in a video uploaded to social media by members of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel themselves. They filmed it in an unidentified rural area that the police were never able to locate. The woman shown exposed and surrounded by criminals was Laura Perez Rodriguez Moreno, or so she stated when interrogated by her captors. Why did CJNG Sicarios take her hostage to humiliate her on camera? Laura was a small-time drug dealer, a narcomenudista, in Salamanca, a municipality in Guanajuato. She primarily distributed small doses of drugs. She was not a plaza boss or a significant figure. Rather, she served as a link between CJNG producers and consumers. She confessed, under duress, that she carried out her work with the support of Salamanca's political circles. Laura's story mirrors that of thousands of women who enter organized crime in lesser roles, whether by working the counter of a fraudulent business, selling small quantities of cocaine, or as romantic partners of cartel members. In many cases, they are lured in by lies and false promises. Numerous studies highlight the number of human trafficking victims kidnapped under the promise of honest work. These women vanish from the map and become part of a parallel illegal system where the cartel's law is the only one that matters. In many states, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel controls the prostitution business. This is not simply about owning the venues where the activity takes place or collecting a share of profits from each client. The Sicarios of the four letters cartel effectively seize ownership of the women they exploit, treating them as mere resources. If these women fail to meet expectations or do not pay the agreed-upon quota to their plaza bosses, the response is almost always death. Anyone who doesn't comply will face deadly consequences. We have you located. This brutal scene, much like that involving Laura, the small-time drug dealer, was uploaded to social media by the drug traffickers themselves. They thrive on this type of propaganda, knowing full well that an image is worth 1,000 words when it comes to intimidating their enemies. We have you located. If you don't fall in line, you'll face deadly consequences. First warning, Jalisco New Generation, speaking from Guanajuato. Such disputes are commonplace. For many years, Guanajuato was Mexico's most violent state due to the war between criminal groups. The Santa Rosa de Lima Cartel and the Jalisco New Generation Cartel are just two of the most powerful and recognized, but many active cells operate. This has caused a tremendous security crisis. To give you an idea of the gravity, in 2020 alone, nearly 600 intentional homicides were recorded in Guanajuato, almost all involving firearms and having some connection to drug trafficking. This accounts for 11% of all murders in Mexico, a number that is chilling just to utter aloud. In many cases, it is women who are responsible for recruiting young people for trafficking and sexual slavery. They are also the girlfriends and wives of the capos, and later they become the visible face of shell companies or dubious investments. They are also the deceived young women who, guided by lies, end up becoming virtual prisoners of the cartels. Whether as victims or perpetrators, women play a significant role within organized crime. This brings us to the end of the video. If you are interested in the raw stories of Mexican organized crime, the best way to support the Cartel Kings channel is by subscribing. My name is Tomas, and I'll see you in the next installment.